Hundreds of people saw it. A streak of light rising through the dark sky. Then, a massive explosion off the coast of New York. Some swore it was a missile. Others said it was an accident. But one thing was certain: 230 people were dead, and the truth would be buried under years of controversy. Hundreds of witnesses claim they saw a missile strike the plane. The FBI launches the largest investigation in U.S. aviation history. But their final report leaves more questions than answers. Was it an accident, or an attack the government covered up? This is the story of TWA Flight 800, the most mysterious plane crash in U.S. history. July 17, 1996. A warm summer night off the coast of Long Island, New York. Families were watching the sunset, boats drifted peacefully on the water, and high above, World Airlines Flight 800 was climbing through the sky on its way to Paris. But just 12 minutes after takeoff, the night exploded into fire. An enormous blast lit up the sky. Witnesses thought a missile had struck. And within seconds, 230 people were gone. This is the story of one of the most controversial, haunting, and misunderstood plane crashes in American history. This is TWA Flight 800. Welcome back to Air Disaster Explained, where we uncover the real stories behind the world's most shocking aviation tragedies. If you love deep dives into the mysteries of flight, hit that subscribe button and join us as we take off into the most baffling case ever investigated by the NTSB. Part 1: The flight that never reached cruising altitude. Narrator. It began like any other transatlantic evening flight. TWA Flight 800, a Boeing 747-131, was scheduled to fly from New York's JFK Airport to Paris, with a stop in Rome. On board, 230 people, passengers and crew. 16 high school students and 5 chaperones from Pennsylvania, heading on a French club trip of a lifetime. Families, business travelers, vacationers, ordinary people with extraordinary stories that would end too soon. At 8:19 p.m., the aircraft pushed back from the gate. At 8:31, it was climbing through 13,000 feet. Everything was normal. And then, at 8:31 and 12 seconds, radar screens lit up with fragments. The plane had vanished. Part 2: Witnesses to an Impossible Night. Narrator. Hundreds of people across Long Island's South Shore saw something that night. Some said they saw a streak of light rising toward the plane. Others claimed it looked like a flare or a missile shooting up before the explosion. Boaters described a trail of fire arcing through the air, followed by a massive explosion that shattered the calm summer night. For many, it was impossible not to think terrorism. Just months earlier, a U.S. Air Force barracks in Saudi Arabia had been bombed. The 1990s were a tense time. America was on edge. And now, a passenger jet had exploded just minutes after takeoff from New York City. Part 3: The Search and Recovery. Narrator. The Coast Guard arrived within minutes, but what they found was devastating. Floating debris, luggage, and fragments of the aircraft scattered across an 8-mile area of the Atlantic. Over the next weeks, divers recovered nearly every piece of the Boeing 747, piece by painstaking piece, from 120 feet below the surface. And in one of the most impressive reconstructions in NTSB history, investigators rebuilt the aircraft frame inside a massive hangar in Calverton, New York, like a giant, twisted puzzle. It was there that they would search for the truth. Part 4: Theories begin to collide. Narrator. Almost immediately, 2 main theories emerged. Theory 1: a missile or bomb attack. Theory 2: a mechanical failure, possibly a fuel tank explosion. But here's where things got messy. Hundreds of eyewitnesses described seeing a streak of light, and the FBI took that seriously. Within 24 hours, the Terrorism Task Force was called in. The wreckage was treated as a crime scene. Agents searched for bomb residue, foreign materials, anything suggesting an attack. At the same time, the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, was conducting its own investigation, focusing on mechanical causes. 2 powerful agencies, one searching for terrorists, the other for technical failure, and they didn't always agree. Part 5: What the evidence showed. Narrator. As debris was analyzed, the FBI began finding clues and contradictions. No evidence of a missile impact was discovered on the fuselage. No warhead fragments, no penetration holes consistent with a projectile. But there were signs of an internal explosion. The center wing fuel tank was completely destroyed. That tank, located just above the main cabin, had contained only a small amount of jet fuel, but vapors inside can be highly flammable under certain conditions. The NTSB started focusing on one chilling possibility. Could an electrical short have ignited the fuel vapors inside the tank? If so, this wasn't an attack, it was an accident waiting to happen. Part 6 missile or malfunction. Still, many couldn't accept that answer. How could a plane just blow up without warning? What about the hundreds of witnesses who swore they saw something shoot up? To this day, that's the heart of the TWA Flight 800 mystery. The FBI interviewed over 700 witnesses. Many described a streak of light. But radar and forensic analysis later suggested what they saw might have been the plane itself, already on fire and climbing slightly before breaking apart. In 1997, after months of investigation, the FBI officially concluded: no missile, no bomb, no terrorist activity. The NTSB took over completely. Part 7: The Science of a Disaster. Narrator. For the next 4 years, the NTSB conducted one of the longest, most complex investigations in aviation history. Tests revealed that the fuel tank could have reached extremely high temperatures on the ground, heated by the air conditioning packs located directly beneath it. Those packs ran for over 2 hours while the plane sat at the gate, keeping passengers cool. That heat likely vaporized the small amount of fuel remaining in the tank. And then, a small electrical spark, possibly from damaged wiring connected to the fuel quantity system, ignited the vapors. In an instant, the center wing tank exploded, tearing the plane apart midair. At 13,000 feet, the forward fuselage separated, the wings broke apart, and the tail section plunged into the ocean. The aircraft was destroyed in seconds. 8. The official conclusion. Narrator. In August 2000, 4 years after the crash, the NTSB released its final report. Probable cause: an explosion of the center wing fuel tank, resulting from flammable fuel/air vapors ignited by a short circuit. No bomb. No missile. Just a deadly combination of heat, fuel vapors, and an electrical spark. But even with that conclusion, the public wasn't satisfied. Part 9: Controversy and Conspiracy. Narrator. Somber tone. From the very beginning, TWA Flight 800 became a magnet for conspiracy theories. Independent researchers, retired pilots, even some eyewitnesses believed the government was covering up a missile strike, possibly from a U.S. Navy training exercise gone wrong. Documentaries, news reports, and online forums kept the debate alive for decades. In 2013, a group of former investigators called for the NTSB to reopen the case, claiming new radar and witness evidence. But the NTSB reviewed it and stood firm. There was no evidence of a missile. To this day, the agency's conclusion remains the same. But for many Americans, the mystery lingers, not because of evidence, but because of how unbelievable the truth feels. Part 10: Legacy and Change. Narrator. The tragedy of TWA Flight 800 changed aviation forever. Following the investigation, the FAA ordered major safety reforms. Fuel tank inerting systems were developed, replacing oxygen with nitrogen gas to prevent flammable vapors. Electrical systems near fuel tanks were redesigned for better insulation. Maintenance and wiring inspections became far more rigorous. These changes have saved countless lives since. Today, the reconstructed wreckage of TWA Flight 800 was respectfully dismantled in 2021, after decades of use as a training and educational tool. But the lessons it taught the aviation world will never be forgotten. Part 11: Human Stories. Narrator. Beyond the science, beyond the theories, we must remember the people. 230 lives. Families, students, flight attendants, pilots, gone in an instant. In East Mauritius, New York, a memorial now overlooks the Atlantic Ocean where the aircraft fell. Their names are engraved in stone, facing the horizon toward Paris, the destination they never reached. Every year, on July 17th, loved ones gather there to remember, to honor, to heal, and to remind us why flight safety matters. Part 12: Reflection and Outro. Narrator. TWA Flight 800 wasn't just an aviation disaster, it was a turning point. It taught us how a tiny spark could destroy a giant aircraft. It showed us the human cost of technological oversight.